Speaking of the Cubs, having broken in a Cubs uniform, pitched for them from 71 to 75. Why don't they win a World Series? How come that hasn't happened? I know people say the GOAT or the Bartman ball.
Well, they haven't been good enough. I mean, it's that simple. I mean, and I think if you look back to '69, it wasn't necessarily that the Cubs played poorly; it's that the Mets had some phenomenal September that vaulted them ahead of them. So I would say they were snake bit that year. But I think the Cubs led by I don't know how many games all season long and had a decent September. But the Mets went something ridiculous like 30 out of 31 or 29 out of 30 or and then how you gonna beat that? You can't beat that. So but it's there's I don't have a reason for it. It's just they've had some really, really good teams. The teams I played on when I was there, in '72, '73, we were really good, but just couldn't get it quite across the finish line.
Do you believe in any curses, any
of
that stuff?
I don't believe in that. If you're good enough, you win.
It's that simple.
Well, I mean, it's like when the Moises Alou play there in Wrigley Field when they jumped all over that fan for interfering. Well, what nobody realizes is the next play, the shortstop made an error. If they get that out, they win. The next guy, I forget, gives up base hit. I mean, they had 2 or 3 more chances, and nobody got on the shortstop for booting it, and they buried that poor fan. Yeah. So it's kind of like
1981. What was the All-Star game like for you? What was that experience?
Well, certainly it was a great experience, but we played it right after a 52-day strike. Seems like everything I do happens after strikes, but it was in Cleveland. I mean, I can think of more exciting places to play than Memorial Stadium in Cleveland, Ohio, but just the whole experience and playing, being considered one of the best that season. I was happy. I usually wasn't a first half pitcher. I was usually a second half pitcher. So, if I could stay at 500 by the All-Star break, usually I was going to have a pretty good season because I always finished strong.
What's your advice to not only young pitchers that we'll see out here with the tin caps, but pitchers younger than that today? Because it seems like they got to throw them curveballs really young. What's your advice to a young pitcher? Is it to throw a lot? Is it to rest your arm? Is it to not experiment with sliders or things like that until later?
Well, yeah. I mean, go out and throw it and have fun. I mean, it's I'm fortunate I grew up when I did. We didn't have a whole lot of coach involvement or parent involvement when I grew up. And it was basically all the kids go down to the park and play baseball. Well, to me, you got too much adult involvement, too much adult supervision. They play too long. I mean, nowadays they got kids playing year-round, which I don't think is a good idea. They don't, you go to high school, and a lot of high schools now only allow you to play one sport, and which is ridiculous to me. Let kids play the sports and have fun, and they put way too much emphasis, way too much importance on winning. I guess, you got parents who think their little 10-year-old's going to be a major league star, and they don't realize how difficult and how ridiculous that really is because every year there's only 750 Major League Baseball players in the whole world out of the millions that try it, the millions that play it. And, I never even thought about curveballs until I was a teenager. I just threw fastballs, didn't even think about changeup. It was all fastballs. And enjoyed it. I enjoyed throwing. I still enjoy throwing. So it's, I'm wondering if kids have as much fun playing nowadays as I had when I played.
In 15 years in the majors, who's the toughest out as a hitter that you faced?
Well, I can't name any one guy. Probably the most remarkable 2 years put together by a hitter that in my era was Joe Morgan, and I think it was 75, 76 seasons when he won the MVP back-to-back. I mean, if you look at the stats that he put up those 2 years, it was, 100 RBIs both years. I think he hit 325, 330 both years. He'd steal 60 base both years. He'd walk 100 times both years. Drive in 100 runs both years. So, for an offensive weapon, and it's pretty tough guy to deal with, especially when he's stuck in the middle of that lineup that he was hitting in with, Griffey hitting, Rose and Griffey hitting ahead of him, and Bench and Perez and Foster hitting behind him. So, pretty tough offensive weapon.
You Yeah. For you, having been, in the majors from age 22 to now 64, how has the game changed the most in your eyes? Like, what has changed the most about the game that you've noticed?
Well, I think players are bigger and stronger. I think, of course, the media. I mean, when I started playing, ESPN wasn't around. It was, the local TV stations and the local newspapers, and then, your national publications like Baseball America or whatever else there was back then. And, everything, I feel sorry for players a lot because everything they do is scrutinized so much. And it's like, I can't stand having cameras in the dugout while the game's going on because things go on in here that should be, not for public consumption. I mean, sometimes the game can be very frustrating and everybody expects everybody to keep their composure, but sometimes you can't. And, things happen that the public doesn't need to know. I mean, and now the way the media is, they think the public needs to know every time you clip your toenails or whatever like that. And I don't like that part of it. I think that's, going way too far. Little things like having the reporters in the dugout while the game's going on, and then interviews as the game. I mean, it's kind of like, leave us alone, let us play the game. We'll talk to you before the game, we'll talk to you after the game. Keep your cameras out of the dugout, let us play the game, then we'll talk to you after the game. We'll give you all the time you want after that. But it's like that. I think the radar gun has had an effect on pitching. Everybody's more interested in throwing hard than they are learning the art of pitching. To me, pitching is a craft. It's a craft that you can master. And when you're more interested in throwing the ball hard than you are mastering your craft, it becomes difficult. A lot of these guys I have, even now, they want to look at the chart after the game. I don't think they're necessarily looking at anything as far as the pitches they've thrown. They want to see how hard they were throwing. So getting them out of that habit is, and convincing them, it doesn't matter how hard you throw. I've seen 100-mile-an-hour fastballs get hit over light poles. So it doesn't really matter how hard you can you master your craft? The diligence and the determination, the perseverance to work on things. The good players still have that. They still, but we live in a quick fix society, take a pill society, and everything will be all right. Well, if I take a pill today, I'll have a great curveball tomorrow. I don't realize it takes years to develop a good pitch, years to develop good command, years to develop a good mind, good solid mind to play the game. And, everybody wants to do it now. And, and on the other side of the coin, sometimes as coaches and organizations, we put too much pressure on them to get good too quickly and don't give them a chance to kind of, stew in the pot a little bit to get done.
Yeah. My final question, over 40 years in the game, how do you look, when you look back at your career, what are you most proud of? How do you view it? I mean, I know you take it very seriously, but it sort of gave you the nickname Happy, kind of ironically from what I read. But has it been fun?
Well, yeah. I mean, I got to thank God because He gave me the talent. He gave me the desire to play the game. He gave me the love for the game. And, I look back over my career, I mean, I can't imagine me doing anything else. So I think I was made to do this. And yes, I still love it. Yes, I still enjoy it. And, as a coach, I'm a teacher. I like doing that. My mom was a teacher, very good teacher. And I like teaching guys, and talking to them and getting them to think. And, that's the fun of it. I still love throwing a baseball. I still, love coming to the ballpark, putting a uniform on. Still, it doesn't matter where it is. I mean, it's just still a lot of fun. And, I've been very, very blessed. It's been, it's been wonderful. I mean, it's not like everything has been, roses all the time, but that's the whole fun of it is you take the whole experience, put it together, and at the end, if you can say you've had a ball, you've been blessed, and I can say that.